Hi guys. Today I'm going to show you how to create a simple locally rooftop AC unit using Blender. Then I'm going to show how to texture it using Substance Painter. This tutorial is for intermediate users, so if you are a beginner, make sure you have followed some basic tutorials. Let's get started. Create a polygon cube and scale it along the y-axis. Scale it down a little bit along the z-axis. Select these edges and bevel them. Here, I chose 8 segments for the bevel. Bevel this edge with 1 segment. Select and move this face. Inset it a little bit. Extrude it down along the z-axis. Select these top faces, move them down and scale them along the z-axis. While scaling, press the -1. This will mirror the object along the z-axis. You can see the normals are inverted now. So flip the normals. Turn on snapping and choose vertex. Snap the bottom face to the top object. Select these faces and separate them. Add 3 edge loops. Delete these faces. Make a face. As you can see, the added edge loops are not lined up correctly. To correct them, choose this edge loop and snap it to the corner edge. Then move it along the y-axis as per your preference. Make sure you have remembered the distance. In here I move 0.16 meters along the y-axis. Do this to other edge loops as well. Move it 0.16 meters along the x-axis. Now all the edge loops are lined up correctly. Extrude this vertex. Make a face. Extrude it down a little bit. Select and move these vertices. Add an edge loop. Scale it to 0 along the z-axis. Move it down a little bit. Add an edge loop and drag it all the way down to the curved faces. Move it along the x-axis. In here I move 3 centimeters. Do the same thing to the other side as well. Move the edge loop the same distance as we did to the last edge loop. Select these faces and separate them. Add a Solidify modifier. Select even thickness and only rim option. Apply the Solidify modifier. Add a couple of edge loops. Select these faces and inset them. Select the bottom faces and repeat last. If you are using Blender keymap, press Shift-R to repeat last. Do this to other faces as well. Select these faces and extrude them. Scale them a little bit along the X and Y axis. Select these faces. Set pivot point to individual origins and scale them down as per your preference. Set pivot point back to the median point. Add an edge using the knife tool. Make sure you have turned on the cut through option. Select these faces. Extrude them. While extruding, press Escape to put the extruded faces into the same position. Now use the shrink tool to shrink them down a little bit. Select the top and bottom faces and separate them. Join them to the top and bottom object. Add 2 edge loops. Snap these edges to the vertices. Now merge the overlapping vertices. Delete this edge loop. Add 2 edge loops. Delete unnecessary faces if you have any. Add 2 edge loops. Bevel this edge. Extrude this face and delete it. Select these face loop. Duplicate it and flip the normals. Separate it. Make the face. Inset it and extrude it. Select these 2 edges and bevel them. Extrude this face. Merge these vertices. Add a polygon cylinder of 48 vertices. Delete the top and bottom faces. Delete this face. Join cylinder in the top object. Makes faces. Flip the cylinder normals. Add some edge loops. Select and bridge the edge loops. Select these vertices and set cursor to the selected. Add a polygon cube. Select and delete the top face. Flip the normals. Select this edge loop and move it upward. Extrude it. Add a polygon plane. Add an edge loop. Delete the side vertices. Extrude this vertex a couple of times. Duplicate this face loop. Separate it. Delete the bottom edges. Extrude the vertices inward. Flip the normals. Add a couple of edge loops. Select these edge loops. Duplicate and separate them. Delete the main object. Convert the object to curves. Go to the Geometry panel and choose a proper value for depth. Convert this object to curves as well. Choose a proper value for depth. Convert this object back to mesh. Extrude the bottom vertices. Add another cylinder and scale it down. Extrude this face and merge it at the center. Bevel this edge loop. Extrude this face and merge it at the center. We are going to spin this object around the cursor. So it is better to unwrap it now. Mark these seams. Unwrap the model to see if you have correctly marked the seams. Use Spin tool. Select Use Duplicates. Set steps to 8. When you are using a 360-degree angle for the spin tool, you could see an extra object. Delete it. Create another cylinder. Delete the bottom face. Extrude the top face and merge it at the center. Bevel this edge loop. Add a polygon plane. Rotate it a little bit. Add an edge at the middle. Add a Solidify modifier. Select Even Thickness. Apply the modifier. Select and delete this face. Mark the seams and unwrap the model. UVs are looking good. Select all the vertices and spin them around the cursor. Delete the extra object as we did the last time. Join these two objects. Add another cylinder and scale it down. Delete the bottom and top faces. Separate the top faces. Select these edges and bevel them. Deselect the loop side option. There are a lot of triangles in this object, so there will be some shading issues. So select and inset these faces to add more geometry. Basically, the triangles on the flat surfaces do not make any shading issues. Duplicate this face loop. Separate it. Flips the normals. Join these objects. Merge the overlapping vertices. Delete these edge loops. Select these edges and split them. Add a bevel modifier. Let's delete these faces. Set limit method to angle. Apply the bevel modifier. Add 2 edge loops. Make a face. Select the bottom face and bevel it. Inset that face. Convert it to triangles. Bevel these edges. Merge these vertices. Bevel these edges. Bevel these edges too. Inset the faces. Convert this end-on face to triangles. Merge these vertices. Let's start unwrapping the remaining objects. Select these edges and mark seams. Then unwrap the object. These faces will not be visible when you are rendering the model, so you can delete them. These faces will not be visible when you are rendering the model, so you can delete them. Select this edge and mark sharp. There is end-on here, so convert it to triangles. Delete this face loop as well. Keep marking seams. Select the curve object and change the bevel resolution to 1. Then convert the curves to a mesh. I forgot to change the bevel resolution for this object before converting it to the mesh. It is not possible to convert this mesh to a curve like the one I created before. So I'm going to merge these edge loops at the center. Now you can convert it to a curve and change the bevel resolution and convert it back to mesh. You can join the objects together which have marked seams if you like. Looks like there is end gone here. Merge the vertices. Delete the edge loop. Convert triangles to quads. Delete these end-gone faces. Merge the vertex. Select these edges and extrude them. Make the face. Merge the vertex. Do the same thing to this side as well. Keep marking seams. This edge loop is not necessary. So snap these vertices. Then you can remove overlapping vertices. Keep marking seams. Select all the objects. Apply location, rotation and scale. Let's clean up the model. Go to the Edit mode and deselect all. Now go to Select All by Trait, Non-Manifold. Uncheck Boundaries. Looks like I don't have any errors. Clean up the mesh if you have any. Go to Select All by Trait, Faces by Side. Change type to greater than 4. Looks like I have a end gone. Convert it to triangles or quads. Make sure you have separated the fan from the main object. When you bake the ambient occlusion map, the shadows of the fan guard grill will appear on the fan. Later we are going to add dirt or dust based on the ambient occlusion map. So when the fan rotates you will see those shadows as well. We don't need the shadows of the fan guard grill to appear on the fan. In Substance Painter I will show you how to bake ambient occlusion map correctly when you are in a situation like this. Select all the objects and go to Edit mode. Select all the vertices and unwrap. I'm using UV Pack Master plugin for packing UVs. .2048 by 2048 textures will be enough for model like this, so go to the pixel margin section and set texture size to 2048 by 2048. Set precision to 4000. Set pixel margin to 8 and pixel padding to 0. Pack the UVs a couple of times until you get a decent UV map that has the highest packed islands area. If not, set pixel margin value to something like 10. Select the mesh and apply Shade Smooth. Add a weighted normal modifier. Check Keep Sharp option. Go to the Normals section and set the Auto Smooth value to 60. Do these steps to the fan object as well. Export the model in FBX format. Open Substance Painter. Open the FBX file. I'm using default settings here. Go the Texture Baking window. Set output texture size to 2048 by 2048. Set anti-aliasing to 4x4. Uncheck normal and NIT option since we're not using a high poly model for baking. Go to Ambient Occlusion section and choose only same mesh name for self-occlusion setting. This will take the fan and the main AC unit as separate meshes and bake the ambient occlusion map accordingly. Now you can bake the textures. Delete the default layer and add fill layer. Add iron pure material. Add a black mask to fill layer. Choose UV chunk fill as the fill mode. Then deselect these parts. Create another fill layer and choose black as the base color. Set roughness value to 1. This layer will act as holes or any other non-reflectable areas. Add a black mask to the black rough layer and select these UV areas. Choose Mesh Fill as the fill mode. Deselect the fan. Create another fill layer and set the metallic value to 1. Add a black mask and select the box at the bottom of the fan. Create another fill layer. Set black as the base color. Set roughness value to 1. This layer will act as holes of the grill. Add a black mask. Add a fill. Add a stripes texture. Choose triplanar projection. Set shift value to 0. Increase the stripes number. Increase the UV scale a little bit. Add another fill and add a stripes texture. Set shift value to 0. Increase the stripes number. Decrease the width. Set blending mode to screen. Add paint. Deselect all the objects. Select UV chunk fill as the fill mode. Select this part of the model. Set blending mode to multiply. Decrease the height value a little bit. I think I made a mistake here. Go to the second stripes mask and increase width. Set blending mode to multiply. Add a paint layer. Choose a proper brush as per your preference and add some decals to your model. If have some pre-made textures, paint them. Add the rust material. Choose triplanar projection. Rotate the texture a little bit to give some variation. Add a black mask. Go to Smart Mask and add gun edges. Go to the curvature section. Set mode to edges. Play with the global balance and global contrast settings. Add a fill. Add some grunge texture as per your preference. Play with the settings until you get a decent rusty layer. Add a HSL perceptive filter for the paint layer. Decrease the saturation and lightness value to make decals look older. Set blending mode to screen. Add paint. Choose the concrete light brush. Drag and drop a proper leaks texture to the stencil. Play with settings and add some leaks to your model. Duplicate the rust layer. Change the bottom rust layer color to a lighter one. If you have made any changes to the top rust layer mask, copy the mask to the bottom rust layer mask as well. Let's add a dust layer to the model. Add a fill layer. Change color to dark brown. Set roughness value to 1. Add a black mask. Add a generator. Choose dirt generator. Turn on triplanar and play with the settings. Add fill to the mask. Add a grunge texture. Add another fill and drag and drop grunge texture. Make sure you have set the blending mode to screen. Now you have completed the texturing part of the model. Have a nice day. Thank you for watching. See you next time.